Alright, Shalom, Shalom, Israel's the brother Bakalah Walam, here with another hopeful, edifying video to the body of YAHAWAHSHI. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to YAHWAH, YAHWAHSHI, Rakakadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders that I learned this truth from, the men at GMS and the brethren with the like mind and doctrine. And Shalom again to the Akim and the Aqua. I have here a video that basically has this guy. I think his name is John Clueless or Coolest, if I'm pronouncing it right. He's basically going to the Bilderberg meetings, and these companies or organizations like Google that you see like right now. That's basically black. Called what is it? Blacklisting or trying to think of the proper term. That basically they blocking videos or shadow banning. I think that's the term, shadow banning videos and things like that. But they was doing it at a time to gentlemen like this, right? Guys like this, because they knew the truth, and people at the time was calling them like conspiracists or conspiracy theorists. But I'm gonna go into basically he's talking about the presidential state during the time of Trump, when Trump was running, and Hillary Clinton. So I'm gonna let him speak on what about the presidential, and then he goes into a lot of other things too. But yeah, I'm gonna let it play now.
I think working for the same kinds of elite, but I think they realise that if they have a mainstream candidate from the Republican Party, is it Ted Cruz, people like this, that they're not going to get the votes. They need to have somebody that looks like an alternative. The real problem is, and talking to people in the UK about this, they're really worried. What would happen if you had something like a Cuban Missile Crisis? Now, with either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, you haven't got the intelligence, the wisdom of somebody like John F. Kennedy around to deal with that sort of crisis. So really we have no choice at all in America.
So he was basically saying that people in the UK, I think that's what he said, was concerned about Trump or Hillary Clinton not being capable of handling a missile crisis. So that in my opinion, I think that's still an issue. You see with this guy Biden, he's withdrawing troops from Afghanistan, this, that, and the third. You got mixed feelings about that, and then you got then that's the issue. Say if we have a missile crisis, like how would the so-called president, how would the president deal with that situation? So that's the issue that the guy was saying. He was saying, like, I think he said the UK, the citizens of UK was concerned because of these two candidates.
Thanks to these guys, we have a choice between two maniacs to run the most powerful military and nuclear force in the world. I think you're only said.
And that's what he said. Thanks to these guys, I'm gonna rewind it. And the guys he was talking about, basically, he was talking about the elite. He said, thanks to these guys, we have these two candidates to worry about dealing with an issue like that. I'm gonna rewind it.
Or Donald Trump. You haven't got the intelligence, the wisdom of somebody like John F. Kennedy around to deal with that sort of crisis. So really we have no choice at all in America. Thanks to these guys, we have a choice between two maniacs to run the most powerful military and nuclear force in the world.
I think the only sensible person that I can imagine to be president of the United States is Ron Paul. Not his son, yes. The father, the senior.
He's not really standing. Maybe Bernie Sanders would be better, but Trump and Hillary Clinton This is Oppo sayings, yeah?
Okay.
That exactly the same kind of crazy people will be having access. Of course, Trump has been meeting with Kissinger because Kissinger wants to make sure he's on side. Because these guys will always, I was hearing yesterday from one of the Germans here that when he was speaking to his professor, I think it was, and he said, talked about Bilderber, he laughed in his face, he said, you think that voting is what makes someone president in America? And he laughed in his face, because I think for a long time, since certainly the death of John F. Kennedy in 1963, these guys, basically the financiers at NATO, have been choosing the president, the military-industrial complex. And this is the military-industrial complex appreciation society. They get together to try and make success for them, for money from war.
And how do you see that I wish that more activists would discuss is the suppression of inventions like free energy technology or hemp oil that can cure cancer?
Well, okay, you've got an interesting angle there, because look, the Rockefeller family started as an oil monopoly, Standard Oil, which was broken up under the Antitrust Act. I think it was about 19 or something. What we've got in there is the newest monopoly, that is the internet. You've got Google as a virtual monopoly on much of what goes on the internet. And up until recently, there was a conflict between Apple and Google and Microsoft. Now they're all friends. As of a few months ago, they seem to have, they had lawsuits against each other. They dropped all the lawsuits, and they're all friends together.
And who are they serving?
So
So you were saying there was an issue or conflict at one point between Apple and Google, but you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean, now as time progresses or something, they basically become friends, because you know the one percenters, the banking family, they control the whole spectrum, both sides of the spectrum. So it's not, they put out the illusion that there's a competition between this company and that company, or this product and that product. In actuality, they own both products, but it's the illusion to the masses of people. So that's the same thing with any other company, like Google and Apple. Like they said they had some type of issue with each other. They had lawsuits against each other, but now it's like they're friends. So yeah, I just wanna bring that to your attention.
Their monopoly, yes. We're moving towards a kind of 1984 type situation, a Big Brother situation, where these guys are trying to take control of everything we see and hear and think. They get us all onto the internet.
See, that's what's happening. You see that definitely right now. They try to take control of what you see, think, and do. Since you know what YouTube, for instance, on social media platforms like YouTube and Facebook, what they doing? They banning or they banning some certain content. If they call it misinformation or hate speech, they'll put a ban on it. If it's opposing the agenda of the elites, so you see that right now in full respect, even to the general masses of people, because this was going on to mainly to people like this guy right here, the so-called conspiracy theorists. They was doing that to them because a lot of these guys knew the truth, but you see it in full effect to the general public right now.
They start to control the internet. If you search for something on Google now, at the bottom of the search you'll find some have been omitted because of illegal action. Yeah? That means that the people who...
It says you search at the bottom, you go to the bottom of the page of Google, and you'll see certain things are being omitted because of violations or policies or things like that. Like I said, what I mentioned before, on YouTube or Facebook has their own policy. If you violate their own guidelines, so to speak, they can ban you or take down your channel. Like I think this other guy in black, he's gonna mention that's what happened to him.
The real rich and powerful criminals one candidate or another, and this has been proved in the United States. Google can raise a candidate's profile 13%, or it can drop a candidate's profile 25% in an election. So Google is starting to get a monopoly on the way we think. That's really dangerous.
Artificial intelligence and transhumanism is also one of the topics, I think, was it last year or the year that...
Now he's going into transhumanism, which they gonna get into the MOTB. But I want to get the definition of monopoly. What monopoly means. Monopoly. I have it queued up because my phone wanna run slow for whatever reason.
Monopoly.
It says the exact Salakia, the exclusive possession or control of the supply of or trade in a commodity or service. So you have executive or total control of a supply, you know what I'm saying, or trade in a commodity or service. You have total control in the service basically, and that's demonstrated by, you know, like I said, you having total control, which that's coming through the elites having total control over these social media platforms, and making these guidelines that basically to extinguish any opposition of their ideology. So they have total control of these social media platforms like Google. Google. You know, Google doing it too. YouTube, Facebook. They pass these guidelines and policies to ban anybody that oppose their ideology. So you see that with the Maxine Waters and things of that nature, and so-called hate speech and things of that nature. So that's happening right now, even to the general masses.
Before that, what's your view on transhumanism and artificial intelligence?
Well,
should we be afraid of it or not?
of course we should. I mean, we're going back to Bill Cooper again here, actually, because he was talking about this idea of people having to get everything from computers and being almost maybe connected up constantly to computers, having maybe a microchip implant. They've even now started to talk about this, you know, openly in the United States.
He says that you see that too. You know, that's definitely being seen through the government, the Pentagon, through certain companies in the United States. They have their employees have this device planted. You know, the Pentagon too, wanting the military to get this device in them to detect, you know, the Vanessa Williams, and or to detect you know, Crown Royale, and he's gonna go basically into the CARES Act when they were trying to giving the excuse of having track of your kids.
It's really good. Give your child a microchip implant. They were saying this about 2 months ago.
I saw that.
On TV in Florida.
I saw that.
It's going to be good for your child because you can find your child if you lose your child. And you know what? With the reporting, there was no criticism, no explanation of the fact that you can catch cancer. Your children can get cancer from these things.
Yes.
So
it is more worrying about how the media is selling it. It's dangerous.
See that he said there was no opposition. Nonetheless, they have facts that you can catch cancer if you get this what the scripture said is going to be a grievous sore on all who take the mark. You know, let me get that out of Revelations, because I really didn't have previous sore. Like it, yeah, this is a Revelations 16:2, and it says, "And the first went out and poured out the vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped the image." So that goes into he said you can get. He just said that you can get cancer. They denying the fact that you can get cancer if you take this MOTB.
And every to talk about this, openly in the United States, it's really good. Give your child a microchip implant. They were saying this about 2 months ago.
I saw that.
On TV in Florida.
I saw that.
It's going to be good for your child because you can find your child if you lose your child. And you know what? With the reporting, there was no criticism, no explanation of the fact that you can catch cancer. Your children can get cancer from these things.
Yes.
So
it is more worrying about how the media is selling it. It's dangerous. Yeah.
And every piece of media that criticizes the globalists,
Agenda.
they close it down and buy it up.
Yeah.
I think it's a good contrast with the Second World War, for example, with the German Panzer tanks.
Okay.
There's a guy called Finian Cunningham. He's an Irish writer, wrote a really good article last year about the Greek conflict with the Troika, with the central banks in Europe. And he said the Panzer banks destroy Greece. And that's what they're being used for, financial warfare. The banks are now, you can smash a city, bomb a city like Dresden was bombed to take it over. But it's much easier to do it with money.
Yes.
Buy it up, take it over, hostile takeover. But it's the same effect. You own that business.
Okay, the last topic, that is infighting in activism, that you have different kinds of truthers. I have to explain the word truther, that those who demand truth from the rulers, not necessarily that you claim to have all the truth, but that you demanding the truth from them, because they claim to be the rulers over us. So now have you different type of truthers and activists. You have the people who are, like you, Christian truthers, who say only through Jesus you will find truth. Then you have the scientists.
I don't necessarily say that. I never said that. Okay. Only through Jesus.
That could be. Could be, but I'm not saying you are saying. Okay, then you have the atheists who say only through science you'll find truth. And then you have the New Agers who say it has to feel good, you see. And you have all these different types, and they all...
So he said there's 3 different types of categories of people of finding truth. It says that you can find truth through what they call Jesus, through Jesus. You can find truth through science, and you can. And there's a new age that's coming out that the new age talking about you can find truth through their feelings of making you feel good or something of that sort. But I'm gonna get slightly what the scripture says, what the Bible says about truth. That's in John 14 and 6, and it says, YAHAWAHSHI said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. So through YAHAWAHSHI, that's where you find truth, through YAHAWAHSHI. YAHAWAHSHI HaMashiach. And you can't find, the scripture also say seek the kingdom and he'll show you the all truth, roughly paraphrasing. Seek ye the kingdom and he'll show you all truth. So this is the truth through YAHAWAHSHI. It's not through, and also science go hand in hand with the truth too. Because the Bible talks about staying away from science falsely so called. So and it's definitely not on emotions. The Bible doesn't talk on impulse and feelings and imaginations, vain imaginations. The Bible doesn't operate off that. That's not truth. So
both have their own agendas, and they want to have the tyranny gone, but they come with a new tyranny, is that only my way is the best way. So what I have thought about is there should be a new slogan like this, a new kind of unity against tyranny.
Give me a second, I want to wind that back. I think I want to talk about something else he said.
Through Jesus.
That could be, but YAHAWAH say? Okay, then you have the atheists who say only through science you'll find truth. And then you have the New Agers who say it has to feel good, you see?
That's why I want to bring to your attention about, he said the New Agers saying whatever makes you feel good, that's the truth. You know, that's going on. You see that through, especially with the younger generation. You see that they do whatever makes them feel good, like do as thou wilt. You know, that philosophy. You know, that the philosophy of do as thou wilt, do what makes you feel good. You know that, and that philosophy basically is in here, Babylon the Great too. You know, according to how people are living their life, they just doing things based upon what makes them feel good. You know, and they think that's the truth, or that's the answer, or that's the solution, or that's how you should live your life. You know, and the Bible has many scriptures on vain imagination. You know, so that's just a vain imagination that people are just living by. But I want to point that out. That do as thou wilt spirit.
You have all these different types, and they all have their own agendas, and they want to have the tyranny gone, but they come with a new tyranny, is that only my way is the best way. So what I have thought about is there should be a new slogan like this, a new kind of unity against tyranny. That means that we can help each other. We still are individuals, we still have our own unique ways, but we can help each other when we are in trouble. Like, let someone take my channel down. I had 27,000 subscribers in 2007 and I lost it. And I thought, wait a minute, why not helping each other?
See, that's what he did. He said he had 27,000 subscribers to his YouTube channel, but they took it down 2007. You know, so you see like guys like that, you know, they like these so-called conspiracy theories. You see what they saying, you see in that coming to light like now. Like right now, you know, the things that people said was a conspiracy. These guys don't know what they talking about. They, you know, whatever they out their minds or whatever they're saying. And you can see the truth from what they're saying. You can see that happening right now in your society. You have no rights. You know, you have no freedom of speech. You have no choice. They demanding you to take things, you know, in actuality, because of the world, the nation being in a state of emergency, the nation being declared as a state of emergency by Trump when he was in office, and he also activated FEMA. And if you get the understanding of FEMA and what they can do by executive orders, they can suspend the Constitution, which that means in turn, which that means that you have no rights. That they can take your rights away, even though people are protesting their rights. They have a right to do this, you know, this, that, and the third. But they're using it through gradualism. They're not gonna fully give you the force of what authority they have. And you can see that dude Trump, the dude Biden too, by the stroke of a pen, he can activate these executive orders that been passed previously. You know, so under the FEMA operation or FEMA program, you know, through the stroke of a pen, executive pen, the president can just sign these executive orders that's laying dormant. That he can just, that's why you see him in a lot of these a couple of these these meetings or that they have, and you see him, he just signing paperwork. That's those executive orders. You don't know what he's signing. He just signing paper after paper, signature after signature. He's basically activating those executive orders that's laying dormant for the time that we're in now, because we're in a state of emergency, and FEMA's been activated. And under FEMA, if you go through the research about FEMA, you know, FEMA has the authority to suspend the Constitution, and you have and basically take your rights, which they have executive orders laying dormant, you know, that can be activated because FEMA is activated. They can come in, arrest you, put you in, take you from your home, take your property, take over the food supply, and various other things, man. Which basically you have no rights, you know. So they can do that through the stroke of a pen, presidential pen. I just want to point that out, you know.
Having multiple different type of activism who have big channels, and when someone is taken down, we're going to promote your backup channel, and then you have, you know, that you still fight to your cause.
You're right. I think that there is a need for more organised. But you see, the thing is, who is going to do that organisation?
Exactly.
I think, in a way, it's quite good that it's a distributed system. You know, that everyone is doing a little bit for themselves, and also thinking about others. I was telling you about, for example, the activists who were arrested and beaten up by the police.
Yeah.
Well, afterwards we go and find them, because what's happening is the police are trying to, it's like they're trying to grab the slowest gazelle on the back of the herd and take them and take another one. So what we do is
Like
we
a
say,
predator.
hang on, herd.
See, that's what he was going into. Yeah, you can watch. I might put the link to this video so you can watch the full thing. But I ain't mean to make this too long. But you know, but yeah, he made a whole lot. This guy made a whole lot of good points, and you see, the topics that he was talking about. You see that in full effect now, even on in a general mass level. You know, they when he was talking about it, it was things that really wasn't on a massive scale, especially over here in Babylon the Great. It wasn't on a massive scale like you is today. There's no denying the fact that what these guys are talking about is true. But yeah, I hope the body of YAHAWAHSHI YAHAWAHSHI will edify. I want to say call Halayim La YAHAWAHSHI YAHAWAHSHI Ba'Shem Rakadash, and Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah YAHAWAHSHI, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah YAHAWAHSHI, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah YAHAWAHSHI. I want to say Shalom till next time. Yahawah Ratazah, which means Yahawah willing, and YAHAWAH Rabah.